How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today we have another running video for you guys, and I'm going to be explaining the tips and tricks in order to run a sub 17-minute 5k or a faster 5k in general. So let's get into it. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first thing we're going to talk about is how long the training block should be. So a lot of people either do too long for a training block or they don't do enough. I reckon the specific amount is 6 to 8 weeks for a training block. If you do anything longer, then you're likely to maybe get injured because you're sort of in a hard training block for too long of a time. And then if you do it too short, I don't think you get the training benefit out of it. So 6 to 8 weeks is the perfect amount for a training block. So now we're going to get into some of the key stages of this training block. Alright, so the first thing you need to perfect your 5k training block is the right amount of mileage for you. So obviously there's probably quite a few people with a range of different ages watching this video, and depending on your age, that really depends on the amount of miles you run. For example, if you're under like 15 years of age, you don't want to be doing like 60-mile weeks and all that. If you're under 15, I'd say do for a 5k training block, specifically for a sub 17, 20 to 30 miles a week is good enough for you. I'd say for 15 to 18 year olds, these are just estimates by the way, I'd say the perfect amount of mileage for those guys are like 30 to 50 miles a week. Obviously if you're 15 and 16 years of age, go more towards the 30-mile mark, maybe 30 to 35 miles a week. And then for those like 17 or 18, maybe 40 to 50 miles a week is a good mileage per week for you guys. So now we're going to get into the next aspect. Okay, so for a training block to work, you obviously need to sort of build the foundations. So easy running is a super important thing to include in this training block, and this should obviously be the majority of your runs in the training block. And yeah, these should be done, obviously, because it being easy running, it should be done at a conversational pace, feeling very, very comfortable and not breathing hard at all. Now, I've made a video on this easy runs before, specifically talking about the Jack Daniels running calculator, and I did that a few months ago, so go and check that out. And as I explain easy runs in more detail, but yeah, find out your paces for your easy runs by doing that. For sub 17-minute 5k runners, the easy pace I would recommend you do is between 4:45 and 4:50 per kilometre. But obviously don't fixate on paces because they're just numbers. You've got to listen to your body. So if you're feeling good one day, maybe edge towards 4:45 per kilometre. That'll be absolutely fine. You should feel good doing that if you obviously feel good. However, if you're feeling tired from sessions during the training block, then obviously edge a bit slower. Maybe even go down to 5 minutes per kilometre. That'd be absolutely fine. But yeah, really important to do your easy runs, guys. It should cover the majority of your week for running. But now we're going to get into the nitty gritty and talk about some sessions. Alright, so during your 5k training block, I would recommend you do around 2 sessions a week. And if you do it, if you're doing high amounts of mileage per week. You can maybe even do 3 during your peak phase, which is around the middle of the training block. It's like week 3 or week 4 or something like that. But yeah, the first key session you need is obviously your speed work, and this is the key to boosting your economy, and it also makes 5k race pace feel a little bit slower and easier, because of obviously you'll be doing a little bit of training at a faster pace. So one session that you can do for this is 10 times 400 meters. Now these should be done at anywhere between 1500 and 3k pace. So for those sub 17 minute runners watching this video, or those that obviously want a sub 17, these should be done at anywhere between, I'd say, 75 to 76 seconds, because obviously 1500 meter pace converts to probably around 74 seconds per 400, and 3k pace being around 78, 79 seconds. So it's right in between that sort of range. But yeah, these quite fast speed work sessions, the 400 meter reps, the 200 meter reps even, if you want to include them, because they're quite helpful as well, are very important. And by the way, for the 400 reps, the 10 times 400, take 90 seconds recovery in between. That's probably suitable for that session. And yeah, we're now going to move on to the next session. Okay, so the next session you need is obviously one of the most important ones: running at your race pace. So these race pace repetitions will really help. Obviously, you practice your target goal pace, which for those sub 17 minute runners is 3:24 per kilometer, which is, I'm pretty sure, 5:29 per mile pace. I'll put it on the screen. But yeah, what you need for this is kilometer repeats. So this is the distance you should be doing for your race pace sessions. For example, 6 times 1k at your 5k race pace is probably the perfect session to practice your race pace, and take a 2 minutes recovery between every rep, and rest, by the way, not jog, because you obviously want to have a full recovery and feel fresh enough for the next rep. And during your peak phase, you can maybe even add these up and do 3 times 1 mile at that 5k race pace, just to get longer efforts at that race pace. But I'd only recommend doing that once and during peak phase, so like week 3 or week 4 of your training block. And this is absolutely perfect in order to help you guys get used to that pace and sort of believe in yourself that you will actually run at that pace on race day. But yeah, that's basically it. We'll get into the next session. Alright, so another really important session is your threshold work. So these obviously help to build your high-end aerobic capacity. And yeah, some of these sessions include 2 kilometer reps. So for those sub 17 minute runners, the perfect session for this is probably 4 times 2k at that threshold pace. Now the threshold pace, I'd say, for those aiming for a sub 17 is 6 flat per mile or 3:43 per kilometer pace. That should be your perfect sort of sweet spot for your threshold. And yeah, take 3 minutes recovery between each rep and you'll have a perfect session there. Or an alternative could be also 5 times 5 minutes at that threshold pace of 6 minute per mile pace. Again, taking a 3 minutes recovery. So 2 possible sessions there. You can obviously do it differently. You could sort of make it Ingebrigtsen style if you want and do 5 times 6 minutes. But I recommend only for those to do that. For them doing the higher volume. If you're doing lower volume and you're not running as much mileage a week, maybe do 4 times 5 minutes or 3 times 2k to sort of decrease it. But yeah, just don't push it. The concept of these are to stay relaxed, not bring in any lactic acid. Not that I'm a scientist or anything, I literally don't know much about it at all. But yeah, you should be doing these for those for those sub 17 5k runners at 725 per rep. That's perfect. So yeah, they're very important in sessions as well, like I said, to build that aerobic capacity. And also another one is tempo runs. Now tempo runs are a pace that you can hold for anywhere between 50 and 60 minutes long, mainly. And for sub 17 minute runners, that's 345 to 350 per kilometre is where you should be at. And yeah, again, for those lower mileage runners out there that will be doing this block, do 3 mile tempo. That's probably perfect. And then obviously those doing the higher mileage, the adults, you can even go up to 5 or 6 mile tempo. Don't go anything higher than there because you don't need massive amounts of volume, as it's only a 5k training block. If it was like a 10k training block, then yeah, maybe a 6 or 7 mile tempo, but yeah, just you don't need too far for a tempo for a 5k training block. But yeah, that's another very important session. Both of them really help build your aerobic levels and boost your fitness, really. Another more foundation session, which you can do all through your block. And we'll get into the final thing you need to include in this block. Alright, so the final important thing you need to include during this block are strides. Now, these are efforts that are 15 to 30 seconds long, so really not long. They should be sprinting, however, they shouldn't be all out. They should be fast enough that it's a lot of effort. However, not too fast so that your form doesn't break down. So this is around 95% effort, and these should be done either after or during, it's like between easy runs, and around once or twice a week you should be doing these. So yeah, they're very important as well, just to improve that top end speed without obviously killing yourself, because obviously the main objective during this training block as well is to stay injury free. So you don't want to over push all these things. You have to do them at the right pace. The final thing I want to say is the phases of your training block. So obviously you can't just like go in to a random training block and start training like full on miles and the hard sessions and all that, you have to build up slowly. So you got to give it a couple of weeks before you actually get into the block to build up gradually, build up the mileage. Use the 10% rule for increasing mileage, and also this will help build your aerobic base ready for the block, get you in some solid shape before you attempt these paces for your sessions. So that's your base phase. Obviously the sessions for the 6 weeks that you're actually doing the getting into the nitty gritty is your peak phase. Sorry, no, your peak phase. I don't know what I'm talking about. And then obviously for the last either 1 or 2 weeks, you should be doing a taper. Now, for those that want to know what a taper is and don't know, it's basically a reduction in mileage, and this helps your legs get fresh for race day. And yeah, you can also reduce your effort as well. But that's not really important. You don't really have to decrease your intensity, because then that might not make your legs used to the fast paces. Just make sure you do a reduction in mileage, and I'm pretty sure you should be doing it by like 20% is probably suitable. So yeah, say for example you're doing 50-mile weeks, you should be bringing them down to around 30 or 40 miles a week for the last 1 or 2 weeks. But yeah guys, that's basically it for this video. If you enjoyed it, smash a like on it, subscribe if you haven't already, put your comments put your questions, any additional questions in the comments, and I'll reply to them hopefully. Even if I don't reply to them, I do see all of your comments, by the way. So yeah, feel free to write something. But yeah, without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.